Hello friends, Namaskar. I am Anil Kumar Srivastav. I shall today discuss about the one of the greatest authority on food grain production in India, that is M.S. Swaminathan. The great drought of 1943 took place and the millions of people have died because of the food, because of the starvation, because India was then developing or increasing its population at the explosive speed, because the All India Institute of Medical Sciences have been formed and the government was taking every step to control the death rate, but the birth rate cannot be controlled in a short time because it is a subjective issue. But the death rate it is objective issue, because when people get sufficient production, then they will not die, and that is why the birth rate remained constant for some time, but the death rate has been controlled by the different type of the health infrastructure and health schemes which were inaugurated in 1952 Lok Sabha elections, and especially the one of the best institute that have been constructed in India was the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in the first Lok Sabha, and the Minister of Health was Princess Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. We should also see that the population of the India was at the time of independence only 36 crore, and the food grains production was almost 5 million tons. In the first 5-year plan, we have given privacy of agriculture over the industry, and that was why our food grain production rise up to some extent. But in the second 5-year plan from 1957 to 62, we have not been able to give the primacy to agriculture. In this second plan, privacy to industry was given on the Mahalanobis model, because Mahalanobis thought that if the big industries work, then the small industries will follow the increase. That is, he imagined that the big industries like coal and steel are the engine of growth, and if the engine of growth is going ahead, then the bogies will automatically come forward. This was the view of Mahalanobis, and because of these he has given full attention to the industrial sector. We find that we have already told you that in 1952 All India Institute of Medical Sciences was formed, and the minister behind it was Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. In 1952 Lok Sabha elections, he has presented the bill and this bill was passed. And because of the other healthcare initiative taken by the state government and the central government, the death rate of children came under control. And because the death rate was being controlled but not the birth rate, because birth rate is something what is dependent on the literacy and the and literacy level or the education level of the husband and wife, and this cannot be reduced in a certain period of time. It is a subjective matter. In India, it is thought that all the children are given or the gift of God. This is the dictum that goes on, and because of this, the people do not give proper attention to the birth of the people, birth of the children. And as soon as the death rate dropped down, when the death rate was also 40 and the birth rate was almost 50 per thousand, but the death rate was controlled and reached to 30, and the birth rate still remained for 50 per thousand. So the difference between the two is very high, and that is because the population increased by leaps and bounds. There is an explosive growth in the population. India was passing through the explosive stage of population. So there was a need of the more and more production. And at the time, in the 1943, during the colonial era, the great drought took place in Bengal. It has taken almost millions of the people have died because of the starvation. At that time, Dr. M. Swaminathan was the student of the Kerala University, but this event has affected him by the depth of the heart. And further, he started to think how this starvation can be removed. So he was the greatest scientist of the day, and later he has been able to develop a dwarf variety of wheat. And in those days, the Norman Borlaug, American scientist, was working on the food grain production and on the new seed in Mexico. He has been able to develop a new seed which can give more productivity, or that the production can be increased by 4 or 5 times. And taking some instruction and taking some kind of help from there, Dr. M. S. Swaminathan came to India, and he devoted, and he was the only person who is called the revolutionary of agriculture. He was the first person to get the World Food Prize, and he was also a person of innovation, and if we can call him the lighthouse of the innovation. And he was India has lost a great person in him, and the whole nation will remain indebted to him and his works, because he was the person who mixed some policy, some greed, some seed of wheat with the Punjab wheat, and then a crossbreed was found out, and this crossbreed has a more than 4 and 5 times production than what was done earlier. So because of these things, the two things in 1943, the happening of the great drought in Bengal, he has affected him, and M.S. Swaminathan in 1960s developed a new breed, and M.S. Swaminathan have taken a pledge that I shall develop such means or such method of production so that no person should be died of food. And his research and his commitment came into existence and converted into reality. We find that in India since 1964, 65 and 66 there was a continuous drought, and that is why the agreement reached between India and Congress PL 480, we have been receiving the wheat from USA, but that was the one of the worst kind of wheat that we were receiving. As I have already told you that the population was growing explosively because of the controlling of the death rate, and India needed more food. At the time of independence, India has produced 5 million ton of the production, 5 million tons of the food grains, and the population was only 36. The population has just been doubled in 10 and 15 years. So the demand for the agricultural production, a demand for food has further increased. But as we know that in India, in some places there are more rain, and some places there are extreme rain. And because of this pattern of monsoon rain, we are not able to produce the required production, especially the crops that need more water. We can see that the production was in 1964-65 only 72 million tons, only 89 million tons, and 65-66 the food grain production was 72 million tons, and 66 and 67 it was almost 74 million ton. But it is then in the 1965 Dr. M. Swaminathan has explored that new variety of production, and he also studied that how the developing countries are increasing their food production. You find that in India we are using the cows, the bulls for the cultivation. He thought that we are using old kind of seeds and old kind of methods for the production, and that is why our production is less. As the Malthus says, that if the productivity is increased, or if the technological revolution or technological equipments are given, then our population can be controlled. He was of the view that the population increases in the arithmetic progression, that after every fixed period or 25 years, the population doubles. That is, the population in 1920 is 20 crore, then in 1945 it will become 20 or 50 crore. But he said that the food grain production does not increase in this manner. The food grain production increases in the arithmetical progression. So after some time we will find when the population goes to 3 times, that is 2 plus 2 plus 3, 2 plus 2 plus 2, that is 6 times, and the food grain production will increase by 2 to the power 3, that is by 8. So only the food will be available for only 6 persons and the population will be 8